Tonight on Business Live, Ghana Telecom's chamber maintains that the National Communications Authority has the power to sanction mobile phone subscribers who have not yet re-registered their SIM cards. Ahead, we'll engage Chief Executive of the chamber, Dr. Ken Ashibe. Also, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund confirms Ghana will have a program with the fund by the end of this year, but says no decision yet on how much Ghana will receive from the Bretton Woods institution.
You have to support Ghana because your strength contributes to the strength of your neighbors. It contributes to a stronger world.
We asked for 1.5 billion initially. Now they're asking for 3 billion. Will we get it?
Let's go through the discussions and then we will know.
Plus, government to focus on digitalization and other innovative projects to make up for tax losses to be incurred for Continental Free Trade implementation. Details from the 7th African Tax Research Network Summit held in Ghana.
Mobile money and then other transfer taxes, other transfer incomes in that region. We will have to do something innovatively to make up for the marginal shortfall.
Hello and welcome. Now let's take a look at the details. The Ghana Telecommunications Chamber has stressed that the National Communications Authority, NCA, has the power to impose sanctions on mobile phone subscribers who have not yet re-registered their SIM cards. The support comes after some subscribers questioned the NCA's decision to impose sanctions on subscribers in phases to compel them undertake the re-registration ahead of the 30th September deadline. The NCA in a statement says it has commenced some sanctions against subscribers who have not yet registered their SIM from today, 5th September. We are joined via Zoom by Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber, Dr. Ken Ashibe, as well as Director of Consumer and Communications at the National Communications Authority, Nana Dufie-Bedu. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Ashibe, we are learning that the sanctions have commenced. Is that the case?
Yes, good evening to you and your viewers, and good evening to Nana. Yes, the NCA's directive is for the first phase of sanctions to start. So currently what's happening is that for subscribers who have not done any of the registration yet, they've not even done the *404# yet, they are getting messages that is telling them that they need to go register, otherwise their SIMs will be blocked. And then the telcos are putting those who have not done this into cohorts of 5. They're dividing them into 5. And the first batch, definitely by the end of the day, would be blocked. So once they try making a call, the call will go to the IVR and then it would terminate.
All right, let me come to Nana Dufie. Are you going ahead to fully enforce these directives?
Yes, we are. We are going ahead to fully enforce the directives. And I think it's important for us to say or note that we have been working with the mobile network operators on this. We gave the directives. We worked with them on how best to implement these directives, looking at their network and the capabilities of their networks.
But what will you tell those who say that you are being harsh with your decision?
Well, I think that we need to look at what has happened in the past. If we recall, on the 31st of July, when the minister had her press conference, one of the things she mentioned was that anytime the deadline was approaching, we would see people rushing to go and register their SIM cards. Right after an extension is announced, then the momentum goes down. We hardly ever see anybody going to register their SIM cards. So what the minister put in place was a conditional extension where people would be able to as it were, feel a little bit of a pressure and be pushed to ensure that they have finished or they have completed the SIM registration.
But how are the sanctions being implemented?
Well, the sanctions are being implemented as Engineer Ashibe has mentioned, that for people who have not done the stage 1 and people who have done the stage 1, we see them as people who have not registered the SIM, because to claim that you have registered the SIM, you should have completed stage 1 and stage 2 of the SIM registration process. And it is being implemented from now until the 30th of September, after which all unregistered SIMs will be taken off the networks.
Coming back to you, Dr. Ashibe, the last time the Chamber published its data, the registration figures had dropped by 98%. And we're in the final month to the deadline. Is there any improvement?
Well, so you see, that's just what you just said, that from 28th, as Nana said, 28th of July, for example, we registered around 258,000 subscribers. Then on the 18th, you registered barely 5,000, subscribers. So definitely there was a bit of a nudge that you require. And the day has just started. Today is the first day that the punitive measure started. By the close of day, we'll be able to collate the numbers to see what additional numbers we've had so far as people going into the various registration centers to go get their SIMs registered. The point has to be made that the intention of this punitive measures is not to deny anybody telecommunication service. The real intention is to say that we have a database that needs cleaning up, and it's the reason why we're doing this registration with the Ghana card, which is a more robust database. But too many people, and as Nana said, on the very day that the minister was giving the press conference, she had not even finished giving the press conference when people started leaving our centers, because they were at our centers. So for those who have the Ghana card, we need to do all that it can take to make sure that they do the registration.
Let me go back to Nana. What will you tell those who, due to no fault of theirs, do not have the Ghana card? Any grace period for them?
Yes, and that is why, let's say, we would be using the month of September as it was a grace period for them to make sure that they are able to get their Ghana cards and register. Let me just touch on something that Ken said. He just mentioned. Yes, it's not the end of the day. We are hoping to see an increase in numbers of registrations, but as at 12 noon this afternoon, we had over 1,200 people who had completed their registration using the self-service app. So I am actually very hopeful that by the end of the day, we should see a great number of registrations at the MNO side too. For people who have issues, we also encourage them to let the service providers know and to let the NCA know what these particular issues are so that we can deal with them.
But Dr. Ashibe, what have been the records so far when it comes to online registration of the SIM cards?
So Nana just shared with us what is happening on the self-registration app.
Sure.
We are collating what our members are going to do, and we'll be able to tell that at the close of day. But I'm pretty sure that just learning from what is happening because the self-registration app had been launched and really nothing was happening on that particular front. But to get the 12 midday and being able to see those numbers happening, it's encouraging, and we're hoping that that would also happen, because all the telcos centers and beyond just the offices, all the areas that they've mounted, where all of those are going to be happening. And so we hope that we'll get a lot more people getting into these centers to register. And as Nana said, this is it's a project that we're doing with the NCA, with another supervision of the ministry. And the data on what is happening is something that would then feed into what it is that we intend to do. Because bear in mind that the ultimate aim is to clean the register, not to deprive anybody of the access to telecommunication service. So as Nana has said, if there are particular people, and a typical example, which the NCA is working with the NIA to get resolved, is our unfortunate brothers and sisters who are, physically challenged and as such do not have their biometrics. So we're trying to get the numbers for the actual numbers of those ones. And we know that they, even if they have the Ghana card now, are unable to register. And then we work to make sure that their registration can be done. So all of these things are things that we're doing to ensure that the registrations can be done. And for me, one of my appeals is to the Ministry of, the policymakers, the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, working together with the Ministry of Interior to find ways in which, working together with the NIA, working together with the NCA, we can get the Ghana cards as quickly as possible into people's hands so that everybody who actually can register. Bear in mind, there are some of the fraudsters and things out there. Definitely, they will not come forward because they know that when they come forward, they will be found out. They are not there. But the genuine people who want to do that, we will do everything in our power to ensure that we can help them in this month of September to be able to register.
Okay, before I let you go, Nana, are we hopeful with the introduction of the sanctions to see improvements? Do you have any target?
Yes, it is difficult to say that we're expecting 42 million SIM cards to be totally registered by the end of this registration process. As Ken mentioned, and let me touch on that too, these 42 million active SIMs that we see on our networks are actually also include SIMs that are being used by the fraudsters. So yes, we don't expect to see those SIMs being registered. Again, it is also possible for some people who do multi-SIMing to also say that, well, I may decide not to even register a whole number of SIMs again, given that there's also a quota for registering your SIM as an individual. You have a quota of 10 SIMs to register. So obviously, we don't expect to see that number of SIMs fully registered by the end of September. But we have 17 million SIMs that have fully registered their SIM cards, and we are encouraged, and we know that people are actually interested. What we plea with the public is that they should go ahead and register their SIMs so that they are not deprived of communication services.
Dr. Ashibe, your final words.
Well, my final words is that to everybody who has a SIM, whether it's a voice SIM, it's a data SIM, it is still free if you go to any of the operators' centers to get that registered. But, for yourselves, those who are rich, who, do not have the time, you still have the self-service app to be able to use to do the registration. And then my plea to us, the telcos, the NIA, the NCA, the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, the Ministry of Interior, is to work to ensure that, the things that we need to do, take the Ghana card registration as close as possible to the public. Make sure that those whose SIMs have not been distributed, get distributed. We should do all of this for everybody so that we can get a robust SIM database that would enable other services that can be offered to Ghanaians to ensure that, we are able to take advantage of the opportunities that digitalization offers to us as a country.
We leave it here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Ken Ashibe is Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Telecoms Chamber, and Nana Defie Bedu is Director of Consumer and Communications at the National Communications Authority. Now, away from that, the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Gogiva has indicated her team is working hard with officials from Ghana for a program by the end of the year. Official negotiations are expected to begin this month. Gogiva, however, says no decision has been taken on how much Ghana will secure from the fund. She spoke to Joy News' Benjamin Akakpo at the Africa Adaptation Summit underway in the Netherlands.
I am very determined for us to indeed reach an agreement by the end of this year. We started very constructive discussions already, and to the people of Ghana, like everybody on this planet, you have been hurt by exogenous shocks. First the pandemic, then Russia's war in Ukraine. And that we need to realize is not because of bad policies in the country, but because of this combination of shocks. And therefore, we have to support Ghana because you're a member, you're a strong country, you have fantastic people, but also we have to support Ghana because your strength contributes to the strength of your neighbors. It contributes to a stronger world.
We asked for 1.5 billion initially. Now they're asking for 3 billion. Will we get it?
Let's go through the discussions and then we will know.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying with us here on Business Live with me, Beverly Broohm. Now to some other stories. Government is hoping to use digitalization programs and other projects to raise revenue to make up for some tax losses that may be incurred through the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. This is a strategy aimed at increasing domestic revenue. A Deputy Minister of Finance, Abdul Sayasari, spoke to Joy Business after addressing the 7th African Tax Research Network Summit in Accra. Here's more.
The 7th Annual Congress is focusing on the tax and revenue implications of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. It is expected that aggregate tariff revenues for Africa will decrease with implementation of the AFCFTA, with some countries more affected than others. This decline in revenue will be moderate in the early years due to progressive liberalization. However, in the longer term, the decline will increase from 3% to 9% according to the World Bank projections. A Deputy Minister for Finance, Abena Osei-Asare, is confident that digitalization of some tax measures will reduce the revenue losses.
Introducing some innovative tax measures that we believe will go a long way to help, like the EVAT system that government is going to come out with. And then we also looked at the electronic transfer, the e-levy, which we believe is also going to tax that component of mobile money and then other transfer taxes, other transfer incomes in that region. We will have to do something innovatively to make up for the marginal shortfall in the short term. But in the long term, we all mentioned that it is going to help us to improve incomes.
Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Dr. Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, told journalists that government is coming up with innovative systems to get other African nations to support in implementing the agreement at a lesser cost to members.
Various papers, documents, research programs, and be able to come out with policies that African countries can implement so that we'll ensure that we get maximum benefits from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. At the same time, we optimize revenue and we don't lose revenue. We all agree that the trade between among ourselves currently is not very huge. And therefore, the initial losses are not expected to be very significant. But we cannot say that because of that, we will not plan and strategize.
The 3-day summit is expected to work out a strategy for member countries in dealing with the tax deficit.
Now, let's still stay on the GRA because the Ghana Revenue Authority has expressed optimism that its upcoming procurement processes, dubbed Time Release Study, will be transparent and efficient. According to Acting Commissioner of the Customs Division, Seidu Idrissa, the country's borders will be optimized and the time required to complete trade procedures will be fast-tracked as possible. Speaking to Joy Business at the opening ceremony of the Time Release Study, he explained that government agencies and other intermediaries will greatly benefit from the innovation because it ensures predictability.
The Time Release Study is a unique tool and a method to measure the actual performance of border procedures, including customs activities, in a systematic and standardized way by measuring the time taken to release or clear goods. According to Mr. Idrissa, the time study is to scientifically ascertain the average time for the clearing of cargoes at Ghana's ports.
Yeah, you know, like we said before, it's not just customs. Customs is dealing with a lot of, agencies in the clearance of goods. We have to, if we are measuring our own and we are not looking at, for instance, that of the Ghana Ports Authority, that of the shipping lines, that of the banks, the agents who are, working, we will only be measuring a very minute fraction of it. And all these things have, an effect on logistics, supply, because we are in the middle. The logistics that are moving out or coming in from the from outside the country has to pass through the borders, and the processing is, a very important obstacle. If you want, in the early availability of, the logistics to those who are bringing it in. So this is a tool. If we measure it well, we will know where the obstacles are, and we will know where our strengths are, and then we can better the work.
He also maintained that this is a strategic action to enhance administrative efficiency, adding that it is aligned with Ghana's trade facilitation agreements at the international level.
The time you spend at the harbour or the borders has a very, big effect on your cost, and even sometimes meeting your demands of the customers. So it is a tool that has been developed by the World Customs Organization to make sure that member states who have assigned to it make sure that they measure the time that averagely everybody traders spend to get their goods across the borders. So it has a big benefit to both the traders and we, and the measurement to our efficiency as those who are involved in clearing goods.
A clear and well-defined procurement management process flow will help to minimize errors, save time, and help to identify areas that can be automated.
And that's your show for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. For more news, do log on to mindjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broohm. Enjoy the rest of our programs.